Mundane Sunday afternoon of practice back at Winter Park out of Mankato. Leslie Frazier, the head coach, said Adrian Peterson will play next Sunday night in San Francisco against the 49ers. We're not sure how long, of course, but Pete, everyone knows what AP is capable of. Is it a good idea to have him play at all in the preseason?
With his being healthy coming in, I don't see any problem with it. I mean, you look at Buffalo and they had C.J. Spiller playing. A lot of teams have their top players in there for at least a handful of plays. So, I don't have any issues with it at all.
Obvious that Frazier wants to see some continuity from this first-team offense, which we haven't seen at all from the time they've been out there. It's really, and it's, of course, and we heard Leslie Frazier in the sportscast, it's impossible to judge that continuity unless Adrian Peterson is in the lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true, and it's a good thing, and then it's a not, and then it makes you worry a little bit because without him, our offense doesn't seem to have much of an identity. I mean, what do we do well? What's our go-to play? What's our go-to route, formation, personnel group without AP in there? Now, granted, when AP's in there, he changes defenses, and so there's so much out there that one man changes in a game. And again, like last year in St. Louis, I never saw a team do more to stop one man in my life.
Well, and we're going to see it again all year long. And everyone knows the third exhibition game is the only one that coaches prepare for as if it's a final dress rehearsal. Frazier, this is the only one we're really going to look at our opponent getting ready for it. You have the first team and offense in there, but how much of that offense are they keeping under wraps as well? Just because they're all out there in body. You've been through the situation as an assistant coach. What are you showing? What aren't you showing?
I think you're going to show your basic routes, but what you're not going to show is maybe your answers to blitzes and to things. I mean, I know that the Bills were very, very aggressive. I mean, Mike Pettin really just turned it on, and they threw a lot more schematically at the Vikings over the weekend than I've seen in a long time in the preseason. So you may hide some of that stuff. It's just you don't have the time to work through all the protections and all the different things that you have, for your play. So you see a sack early. Given up by Khalil, so it's like, okay, you understand that, but when they're snapping balls over the quarterback's heads, I mean those are things that are they're easily correctable, but when you see that along with the other issues that you have,
exactly,
and you start scratching your head.
Well, again, this is a regular week. The Vikings will practice tomorrow, off Tuesday, preparing for the 49ers. It will be more of a game plan type of thing as well. You were in Buffalo, as we know, for Friday night's preseason game. Was Frazier really kind of miffed at the Bills for, using these exotic blitzes right away? In other words, they came at the Viking offense with some new wrinkles. I mean, isn't that their job?
Well, yes and no. I think in the preseason, there a bit of a gentleman's code exists, and it's not unheard of to have a special teams coordinator call the other team coordinator and say, we're not going to block, we're not going to do any eight-mans. Yeah, I mean, just because the preseason is there to evaluate. Yeah, it's to get guys ready, but you're still evaluating other personnel. What the Jets did, the Bills did, they pinned their ears back and threw a lot at him. Now, you can understand Marone's reason for that.
The first play, it started right here at the
first play, and you can kind of understand the Buffalo Bills have struggled, and they need to get some confidence in their players. So I can understand Marone's point of saying, you know what, let's get out, let's get after them, and let's get our guys some confidence. Now, again, that play there, I mean, it was just Khalil getting beat underneath. But
there's Kyle Rudolph just dropping the ball.
Right, and that obviously that didn't help either. I do like though the rapport that Ponder, if he has a rapport with any receiver out there, it is Cal Rudolph. He hasn't gone to him with trouble. When he is in trouble, I think the Vikings did about everything they could to get a ball to Jennings. Again, this is a miscommunication, and this is how you see the wheels fall off. Because as a coach, you want to start making adjustments, but you haven't practiced them, and timing gets all. There's a lot of things, but again, there's no excuse for something like that, not at this level.
I'm not talking about the phone calls that KFAN gets. I'm talking about what the coaches want to see. Is there still going to be that question mark over Christian Ponder if things don't get much better next week until the regular season opener in Detroit?
Well, a lot of that, they see him every day. They see him in practice. And so I think they're going to have a better feel for how he's doing. I think for us as fans, we're going to look at it and say, okay, now we even have AP back there. You have Jennings, you have Rudolph, you have, Cordell Patterson, you have Simpson. You got the weapons. Same offensive line. Yeah. It's like we're all kind of just waiting. Yeah. And I think the only thing that does bother me is just there's no identity. There's just not a lot of continuity. There's no it just doesn't seem like there's much of a rhythm.
No, nothing.
Anything like that. And can that turn around and come around real quickly? Yeah, I think so.
Well, I want to talk about the positives you may have taken out of the game. And Buffalo did come out with that no-huddle offense, something Frazier said they'll probably see a lot of that high-tempo stuff. They're trying to keep the substitutions out to a minimum as well. Rookie Xavier Rhodes looked pretty impressive. This is his first preseason game, and he had a lot to do with his first interception.
Yeah, he did. And nice body position, and that's the thing with a big body guy like that. And I think both of our safeties, Jamarcus Sanford and Harrison, Harrison Smith, you've got some playmakers back there. So those are all good things. Brian Robinson's finally on the field. The defense played very, very vanilla, and it's another game planning thing. The offense that runs a no huddle, you're not just going to sit there and play cover two all day like you did.
Well, here's a 25-yarder to Kyle Rudolph here. Right. You talk about that connection again.
Exactly, and that was a play when Ponder did get hit in the arm. But you're seeing, like I said, some of this. You're seeing glimpses of this, but not a consistency.
Well, this is what the preseason is all about. I had to look this guy up. Joe Banyard, is that his name?
Yep, Banyard.
Nice little run for the kid.
It is.
He's looking for practice squad opportunities.
Exactly right, and that's what all these guys are doing. And when you make plays like this, I mean, Zach Line was the guy last week, and now it's Banyard.
And Rodney Smith from McLeod Bethel Thompson. Nice little touch there.
Yeah, nice little throw on the back shoulder. So a nice pass by McLeod Bethel Thompson.
He's got a nice arm.
He does, and these are the kinds of things that coaches need to see, and this is something we need to see out of our starting offense as well. Is the back shoulder fades, the precision on some of the routes, and they'll get there.
As a former linebacker, your impressions of Desmond Bishop? He got out there for the first time, a guy who Frazier kind of ran the gauntlet. Said, look, you got to start making the football team in the next 2 weeks.
He did, and whenever you have a former starter who's out there with the twos and you expect him to dominate, and I think he did. I think he laid into some people, and it was nice to see him go out there and light some people up. And he's a very physical player. And I think that's one thing that you like about him is he's going to bring that physicality. The question is going to be is if he's not the starter, are you going to keep him around? Can he contribute on special teams? And then you have the injury factor. So I think he's either going to be the starter or he might actually end up getting let go.
So AP next Sunday night against the 49ers. This is it. The following Thursday, they won't play any of the starters. No. They won't even prepare for that game, basically.
No, well, it's going to be, you get home. We'll be home Monday morning. You have a game 2 days later. So this is the big one. And it's a Sunday night game. And it's on the road, big stage, so it'll be good to see these young guys get out there and
look forward to it. Well, we won't see you next Sunday night. You'll be in San Francisco, but thanks as always, Pete. See you after that as well.
Mark.
Mr. Pete Bursich. Coming up on Rosen Sports Sunday, the sport of disc golf is surging in popularity and business is booming, but as the game goes mainstream, not everyone's happy with the changes that come with that. But first, how happy are you with a 54-68 baseball team? Lavelli Neal from the Star Tribune, who used to cover Pete Bursich when Bursich was in high school, joins us live in studio to talk about all things Twins and a surprise guest, sort of. Stay with us.
To the Buffalo game, but this game, we'll put in some sort of a game plan, but not to the extent that we would if we were getting ready to play San Francisco during the season. So it'll be a little bit different.
Yeah, that was Sid Hartman photobombing Leslie Frazier. We've never seen that before, have you?
Sid believes he can go anywhere. He has all access all the time.
All right, Spielman, get over here. I got to talk to you. Welcome back to Sports Sunday, Bears Sunday night with Lavelli Neal, the chief apologist for the Chicago Bears. Your fans don't start hating on Jay Cutler till what, the third week of the season?
We're worried now. I mean, he's only throwing to Brandon Marshall again. We want to see him to other people.
Everybody's got issues with their quarterback except for A-Rod, right?
That's it. And maybe RG3. No,
well, I mean, it's in our division. Yeah, it's all. We'll get back to the Bears later.
Good.
I don't know what to say. It's just a lackluster afternoon at Target Field. Just when you think Samuel DeDuno's kind of figured it out, maybe turned the corner in his career, become a steady 6-7 inning guy, he trips up, reminds you just that he's just not one of those guys just yet.
It was weird today because he could not control his curveball, and it was all over the place. He hit 3 batters, balked a runner over. Yep. He was just a mess today. And Guardian is wondering if DeDuno's tired now, if he's hitting a wall.
An arm problem
or
something?
He started a month and a half behind everybody because he had a groin muscle pull.
At the World Baseball.
After the World Baseball Classic. So he shouldn't be tired.
Well, he's 29 years old, so it's not like he's going to change his style. That's the kind of makes him an adventure out there every night. But, I mean, what do you have in him? Like I said, he hit 3 batters, committed a balk, one of those unresolved issues. He signed through this season, right?
Yep.
So will he be on the bubble when those conversations occur next year about whether or not they want to bring him back?
He should be back. I mean, in a good rotation, DeDuno's a 4 or 5 starter. The problem with the Twins is finding the first 3 spots here, trying to develop those. those roles. Deduno's proven that he can get hitters out in the major league level. Hopefully he can turn this around. You know, he's lost 3 straight starts now for the first time this year.
Yeah.
So you hope he can turn it around in his next outing and give him some innings and kind of remind everybody what he can do. But, you know, the way he pitches is rather unique because he doesn't really try to hit spots. He just kind of throws the ball toward the plate and let the natural movement take over.
Well, you like to see him find that consistency. Speaking of, remind people what used to be. Remember the guy who was the opening day starter for the Twins, Vance Worley? He's now done for the season. What are they going to do with him?
Pretty much, sir. So he's in a mode right now where he's just going to rehab a little bit and then get ready for his off-season program. But it's a wasted year for Vance. He went down to Rochester. And I was keeping in touch with him through text messaging. He thought he was at the point where he could maybe show them that he was ready to be called up right about July, and that's when he had the shoulder impingement, and he just couldn't shake it.
And the Twins can't miss on these opportunities when they get pitching. You just can't.
But Worley was just a rotation stabilizer. He wasn't like an ace guy.
I understand that, but that's what they need.
Yeah, they need the other guy, Trevor May, to come along now and be more than a number 4.
Well, the Twins went on an unprecedented streak of producing runs by only hitting home runs, but in the midst of that streak, continued that real ugly one, not producing with men in scoring position, Lavelle. And it's been that way throughout this homestand, pretty much the whole season. They find new ways to get out after a walk, a good bounce to the catcher. Look at Willingham gets thrown out here.
That was a good call.
Yeah.
Great play by the catcher and the pitcher. He hit the tag now.
2 for 18 in scoring position today. Bases loaded in the 5th inning with only 1 out. Both Trevor Plouffe and Oswaldo Arcia popped up to end the inning. This is sort of, it's not a mirage. You're just not good situational hitters right now.
Try the last 11 games. They're batting 167 with runners in scoring position over the last 11 games.
Wow.
You know, and when it gets to the point, it gets to be a mental thing with these guys. They get in these situations and they're like, we're struggling right now. I got to be the man. I got to come through here. And the next thing you know, dust is flying off the bat handle because they're gripping it too tight and they're not getting hits when they need to, or at least having professional at-bats. Because all you would need is once in a while is a ground ball to second base, which Oswaldo Arcia actually did today, or a couple fly balls, you know, to score a runner from third.
Well, the best story this season has been in the arrival of Andrew Albers, who was brought up because Diamond couldn't get anybody out. He goes out and throws 17-plus scoreless innings to start his career. Got roughed up a bit by Chicago last night. Do you think he can survive the ups and downs in the major league game as he gets used to this routine?
It's way too early to figure that one out with Mr. Albers, but the first 2 starts, 17 in the 3rd, scoreless innings, definitely got a lot of people excited. Can he do that over the long haul? Can he do that when he faces teams for the 2nd and 3rd time? It remains to be seen, but you know, he at least put himself on the radar map a little bit as a guy to think about down the road.
Well, he's got nice movement, great control. He has a nice pace to his game, which is really fun to watch.
It's great, you know, and I learned that from Tom Kelly when I first got on the beat a long time ago, is that when a pitcher's working fast, it keeps the defense on his toes and they make plays for you. So Albers looks like he's that type of guy. Well,
he still got through 7 innings last night. He gave up a 3-run homer in the 4th inning, which was his undoing against Chicago, but after not allowing an extra base hit over his last 2 starts. So, I mean, and he's so grateful to be in the major leagues. He thinks it's cool they have bubble gum in the clubhouse.
You know, I mean, he was out away from getting out of that inning before everything went haywire on him. So, you know, he did not pitch that bad. He's a great talker. We already love him because he gives us great quotes. And we like the fact that people are driving 15 hours from Saskatchewan to watch him holding up signs that say Albers for Prime Minister.
Well, it's been a refreshing...
It reminds you that there's Prime Ministers in Canada.
And it also reminds you there's fun in baseball again. The Justin Morneau trade talk is quieted for now. Morneau was quoted as saying in your newspaper the only way he feels he can go somewhere now if someone on a contending team gets hurt. Do you think that's the case? There's a better chance Morneau staying here now than not?
Mark, not only did when Morneau cleared waivers, that means 1, nobody wanted him. Excuse me.
I got the same issue going.
And 2, no one wanted to block another team from getting him. So you know, there's a double whammy there. So he's going to have to really get hot, and someone's going to get injured for.
Okay, so let's play this thing out. Do you want some water? So Morneau has said over and over he wants to stay here, but what will his agent say this offseason when the offer he gets from the Twins won't be anywhere near what he's making right now? You know what I mean? That's the whole game that goes on as a free agent.
Morneau's a realistic guy. I think he knows he's probably in line for a pay cut considering what's happened over the last 2.5 years, you know, since he had that concussion. So I think in his mind he's prepared to take a little bit of a discount to stay here.
Well, we have the makeup game tomorrow afternoon at 1:10, the Twins against the New York Mets, a game that will not be televised, but what will be televised on FSN tomorrow night is the Twins Class AA New Britain game against Trenton. Sano and Eddie Rosario.
And Pedro Hernandez is going to start that game now for New Britain.
This is what it's come down to. Is Sano going to be here next year?
Well, check this out. I expect Sano to be in the lineup at some point next year, maybe earlier than later. Check this out, though. The Twins are showing New Britain, and then later on this week, Twins fans, you're going to receive your season ticket renewal forms, and they're selling the All-Star Game and the farm system.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Here.
Well,
so they're teasing you with New Britain and socking you with the bill.
That's what we got going right now. Lavelle, thanks much, and good luck with your Bears. Coming up next on Rosen Sports Sunday.
10 wins last year, baby.
Yeah, whatever. Every sport experiences change at some point, and that's what's happening now with your favorite sport, disc golf. How the game surged in popularity is bringing about some changes that not everyone's happy with. That's coming up next. Every sport at some point in time goes through it, an evolution, whether it's baseball players wearing gloves or face masks in football, wooden tennis rackets or dimpled golf balls. The only thing that stays the same about sports is that they're always changing. And as David McCoy reports, that's what's going on right now in disc golf.
So if I'm a competitor, I can go to the shelf and buy one of these urethane grade discs.
When Charlie Hutchinson started his business in 1994, he didn't have this big store in Golden Valley. Or any store at all.
It was just we were actually selling out of the trunks of our cars at the local park.
Now he's running a multi-million-dollar company in this huge warehouse, which he's already expanded twice.
I mean, the first years it was 100% plus 200% growth, and we weren't even trying. We're still not even trying, and it just keeps blowing up.
Not even the recession slowed its growth. In fact, they were some of Hutchinson's best years. Sales went up 40%.
I've never seen a dip in 20 years of doing this.
Great shot. Yeah.
The number of new people taking up disc golf every year continues to soar. It's very affordable and easy to learn.
It's a lot easier and less expensive than real golf, so.
Something that I can do every day without putting a whole lot of money into it.
It's also bringing in new types of people.
It used to be kind of your casual bohemians and your stoners, and now you're seeing a lot of younger people, a lot of women getting involved with it.
It's fun to see new people coming in who aren't part of that crowd. It's kind of changing the sport a little bit.
Indeed, the sport is changing dramatically and as rapidly as its growth.
I mean, people, I think, associate Frisbee with hippies and hanging out at the park and all of that. And when you go out and you see who's playing disc golf now, it's really, all walks of life. You're starting to see more and more people take this serious as a sport and prepare for it, train for it, and treating it like it's any other pro sport.
In fact, it now is a pro sport. There's now a PDGA, with a whole book of rules and regulations.
It further legitimizes the sport, and it brings it more into the light of the real world.
Mainstream.
So, more mainstream.
Imagine there's a band, not a super popular band, more of an underground indie band. Plays the smaller, tucked away places, has a smaller core group of loyal fans. And then the band hits it really big, starts getting really popular, really fast, goes mainstream, starts playing the bigger, nicer places, becomes more commercialized, starts charging more money, starts making lots of money. Is it still the same band, or are they sellouts? And is that what's happening with disc golf?
When I started, nobody played. But it's a lot different than it was then.
Used to be you could go to any disc golf course, whip through it an hour and a half, and play for free. Now, the free ones frequently have long lines, and more of them are becoming pay-to-play.
It should be free.
And I've been standing there playing this course for 30 years, and now I have to pay to play there.
I'm all for it if people want to come out here and spend money. It's making the courses better, and I think it's, really changing the way it is in a good way.
Hutchinson expects that change to continue.
As is true with any particular industry. As it grows and evolves, people are going to be resistant to change, and people are going to be, you know, oh my God, look at that company totally capitalized on all of it. I've been kind of ostracized at times for being the capitalist, you know, pig that took this to the next level and left behind whatever, but it's like, you know, I'm not even trying to make it happen. It's just happening.
I know some of the old timers are kind of like, whoa, this is not what this is supposed to be. And there's kind of this thing like, you know, there's kind of this cool thing like, oh, I played before, or, you know, like, I have a disc from before.
Sam McMullen sells out of his trunk, just like Charlie Hutchinson did when he got started. He's even a business major, just like Hutchinson was. You could say he's the next generation.
You're seeing more and more market share to be had.
But an interesting thing happened while we were shooting this story.
You just shut him down?
Turns out you can't sell out of your trunk anymore. At least not without a government-issued permit.
Apparently, that's against the law, so I won't do that anymore.
For disc golf, times really have changed.
I don't know. That's okay.
After a while, get used to it.
You know, you talk about the band analogy. You know, well, all of a sudden the new band will get super hot, but is it a one-hit wonder?
Man, I played a lot of disc golf with my Jerry Garcia Grateful Dead t-shirts back in the... Bursich, you did too, didn't you, back in those days in the 70s? Yeah, of course we did. The Professional Disc Golf Association says its membership has nearly doubled in just the last 6 years alone, and the number of disc golf courses in the U.S. has more than tripled since the year 2000. We'll be right back. Reminder, if you want to catch a ball game tomorrow, Twins makeup game against the Mets, 110 over at Target Field. Kyle Gibson pitching for the Twins. We want to thank you for watching Rosen Sports Sunday. Thanks to Lavelle Neal and Pete Bursich. We'll see you again next week. Good night, everyone.